Can I get a good amen in this house?
All right, let's do this thing. Welcome to the Good Amen podcast. This is going to be, who knows where this is going to go.
Who knows?
We got a lot of moving parts. We got Daimon and Sarah Elliott here with us here.
One and only.
We are very excited.
Indeed.
You guys go way back.
Way back.
Really good friends. Pastor Lauren is here as well. Got the
PL.
Stole her away once again from the Renew podcast, so that's great.
We're in negotiations.
But also, it's everyone's favorite time of the year. All of our Good Amen family, it's their favorite time of the year because this is pre-sabbatical Aaron Kennedy. And so
I have lived, and you did this, and this podcast. We're trying to set me up for failure.
And so,
I tell it.
Well, honestly, we had him scheduled earlier in the year, and Sarah got COVID.
I had COVID.
You, Damon, got
we both got COVID.
Got COVID with.
What kind of sin is in your life that you get? I was a Russian. Where do we start?
But no, we're very excited. We're very excited about seeing where this goes, and so we'll see. We'll just see what happens.
Okay,
we'll jump. Why don't you guys tell us a little bit about how y'all first met? Because y'all go back. Y'all are really good friends, and have known each other for a really long time. So why don't y'all tell us a little bit about how y'all got to know each other?
Go ahead and start that thing. Well. Sarah and I had met, and I was leading a college ministry at another church here, and we were doing a retreat. And so sent out an email, a mass email that we were doing a retreat. And of course, Lauren gets it and is like, Damon is leading in college ministry. What is happening?
Looking for Jesus in the sky. He must be back.
That was really when Lauren introduced the rapture to me. That's all. She's like, it's coming. Get ready. Jesus is coming back. This guy's right. It's crazy. I didn't even know D. That's true. He looked crazy. I did. I had long hair. I had my cartilage pierced at the top. You did?
Yes.
I was a bit of a reformed hippie at that point.
Yes.
Yeah. And so anyway, Aaron and Lauren came, and that's how we met. We met and became fast friends. And Lauren and I have known each other for, since we were probably little.
Yeah.
So our families knew each other, and so we've known each other for a long time. So, yeah. But just, yep.
Yeah.
And so
the rest was really history. I mean, we became good friends. And
so what year was that? 20?
That was 20...
And we don't have to throw years out if you guys don't want to.
2001.
You know,
2001.
Yeah. That was before we got into the 20s. That was still just
Yeah, it was 23 years, and they eventually transferred. They eventually, heard God. Yeah, the first time in their life. And actually, really seriously, we were praying for friends because we didn't have any. As a couple, we had a lot of young people in the church at the time, but nobody our own age, and we were really praying. And Lauren got this email and was like, man, we, been praying for friends. Maybe we need to go on this retreat. And it was with another church. And I was like, well, that can't be God. And
I still can't believe you went. I think back to that, I'm like,
yeah, we went, and it was,
that'd be God.
It was great. And we met them, and really it changed our life. I mean, we hung out a lot, and they were been great friends to us. They did miss God for a season, and felt called to Colorado Springs, and it was just an Ichabod moment. And so then the glory departed. They told us that, and literally, it is kind of a traumatic situation.
I don't know if we've ever been to P.F. Chang's yet.
No, we went to P.F. Chang's in Raleigh, sat at a table up against the wall when they told us.
That's true.
And I don't think I've been back.
Yeah.
It was a place of grief and death and debauchery. Yeah. And, debauchery.
There was none of that there. This episode is definitely not sponsored by P.F. Chang's.
Exactly.
It's the only sponsorship we'll do.
Only one I'll go to now is Payway. Those are some going to Payway, the cheaper version. But and so then we they did come back, and they've been now back. How long have y'all been back?
2015, so almost 9 years.
And really it's lifelong friends. I mean, I would say, there's different friendships that God gives you, but this is one that's lifelong, as long as they choose us. We say yes to them.
Yes. We changed.
I've got such a wound in me with these guys.
Oh my gosh.
They abandoned me. They abandoned me at my greatest point.
But they came back, and so that's where most of us will land.
Jesus
I know
told me that he stays closer than a brother.
That's right.
I will never leave you or forsake you.
Damon will.
Damon Williams gone, but well, no, that's awesome, and obviously been a part of the church, been a big part. Damon leads worship. He's also what I refer to as our notary elder. And so, if you ever need anything notarized, then
I do
in the church,
notorial functions.
Notorial functions.
I was wondering where
Notarially.
And Sarah, speaking of abandonment, Sarah, when we have first started a creative volunteer team, Sarah was one of our first, and then she abandoned me. And so I didn't know this podcast was going to go into an abandonment vein, but that's definitely where we're going is
Abandonment issues, here we come.
I didn't know you realized. I did. Well, briefly.
Then Jake joined and you left.
No, you weren't even working here at the time.
No,
were you?
I think I was part-time. I was just part-time helping do the creative team.
Yeah, that's true. That's where I first met you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was great times.
Yeah.
Short moments. But here we are.
It was fun. I enjoyed it.
But yeah, it was great. And you guys have been here for a long time. And obviously you guys have such a unique impact on so many people in the church. You guys also now are helping do a lot with the premarital things, classes and things like that. But you guys have kind of had that heart for a while, just kind of helping those who are about to walk into a marriage relationship as well as those who maybe are in it. Why don't you guys talk about kind of some of your heart with that and how the Lord's kind of opened up some doors with that throughout the years?
Yeah, for sure. So it's funny because it really ties into our friendship, because when we became friends, we had people like Clark and Lisa and Jimmy and Gina who spoke into our lives collectively as couples. And it's probably the most impactful thing that happened in our early formative years of our relationship, because they just took time to spend with us and show us what life was like to be married and really walk us through what it was just like to do the day-to-day, the hard things, the ins and outs to raising kids. They were raising young kids at the time. And it was just such a profound thing for us because we got a chance to be a part of their lives and see them in their work, but also in their family and in their church, and just how they balanced all that and how real they were with it. And they weren't perfect by any means. We aren't perfect by any means doing it, but it just profoundly affected us, and it was such a powerful thing. And so from early on, that was something that Sarah and I really felt like the Lord had called us to and spoke for us to do together as a ministry, because, just like Pastor Ian and Pastor Lauren are in ministry together, I think there's something powerful when you can both do something together that the Lord calls you to do as a couple, really to impact the kingdom. And so it was a burden on our heart. And so when we moved to Colorado, we also had another couple that really spoke some wisdom into our life there. And it just completely changed a lot of things for us. And so ever since that point, we just had a burden and a calling to do it. And so we love doing it. It's not something that's really hard for us to do. It requires time, obviously, but it's not difficult for us to sit down and walk through things with couples and talk with them about just everyday things that they're going to face and they might not know and understand currently. So,
yeah.
Sarah, you going to jump in on that one?
Everything you said.
Sarah's already said that she's not planning on talking on that, so we're going to have to.
She's our resident introvert.
Yeah. No, everything you said, and they have so graciously allowed us to be premarital coaches here, and we love it so much, because I think once you get a little bit of experience and like seasons under your belt as a married couple, and understand the challenges that come with it. So it's really cool that we have an opportunity to be able to help them walk through it. We're not professionals and we don't know everything, but we know what has helped us and what has worked for us. And, they also have a great marriage. So within our friendship, it's cool to have other friends who are kind of in the same season. Like we got married a few months apart.
Yeah.
So just
20 years this year.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Yep.
yeah.
Awesome.
So just seeing the growth that they've had, and then, where the Lord has them now has been just so cool to see as their friends. And so now that we're able to like serve with them, and like, it's really cool to see how it's come around.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the things too, even when we became friends, because Aaron and I, all four of us became really fast friends. But in the times that we would spend together, we would go to the driving range or play golf. And we always felt like the Lord was calling us to do ministry together, like to do things together. And so even though we took a detour to Colorado, which clearly we missed out. So, but I think it was also a good, healthy season for both of our marriages and our friendship as well. We spent so much time together, and it was wonderful. It was as a married couple to have friends that you can just be yourself with. Yeah. And you don't have to be on, you don't have to be a certain way. You can just completely be yourself. And they love you for who you are.
Yeah.
And so many married couples miss that today. And I think it makes marriage a lot easier because you have people that walk through the same things. It's like, oh, I'm not crazy. Yeah. We deal with the same thing. We have interactions together and we're like, yep, been there. And it's very relatable. And I think that a lot of younger couples don't have that as much today. And that need for connection, if you don't have someone that you can connect with on a very deep level, and I'm not talking about superficial. I mean, we sit around and we have some real talk. Mm-hmm. And it's so powerful because we get to see each other in our most vulnerable states. And that's how you build intimacy within a friendship as well as a marriage. And so I'm just grateful that they've been vulnerable with us and we've been vulnerable with them, because that's really is what helped make our friendship last for so many years.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting dynamic because obviously you guys knew them before they were senior pastors, right? And so now it is a unique thing for y'all to maintain that friendship. So what is it like on both sides to have friends that like are in the church that you've known forever, and now you're, the senior pastors of the church, and, you're serving together as elders and that type of thing. But then also on the flip, like, what's it like to have, friends become the senior pastors of the church that you're obviously a part of? That's such a unique experience.
I think what has been transformative for me, at least, I mean, I don't want to speak for everybody. I think what's been transformative for me is knowing that they chose us as friends before we became senior pastors, or it had nothing to do really with the church. It really was the Holy Spirit that really drew the four of us together. Mm-hmm. And I think that has been what has kept that pure in a way. Even when they lived in Colorado, we might not have seen each other face to face as often, but we still made intentional time. When we were together, we made the most out of the time. And I think building off of those times where it's not easy, I think that actually is the formation of a real friendship. Yeah. Because you are having, to take time, and especially for them when they would come back and visit their family, they, Sarah had family in Fayetteville, and so they're trying to make all this time for people in a very short amount of time. And it was always those times where I felt like, you know what, this cannot be easy to juggle everybody else's time and expectations. But just the limited time that we did have and going through that season of being apart and building off of that, I think what has helped me at least just keep me grounded in knowing they're really not friends for us for any other reason, and probably had a million excuses not to be, because we have literally, in my perspective, we've grown up together. Yeah. So we were friends before we got married. We were friends while we were married. We were friends having kids together, apart in separate states, and then coming back together. I just think we do have, everybody can work on communication. I think as the four of us, I think we have great communication, and, just having realistic expectations of each other. They're really busy. They have 2 children, they have a teenager, we have a teenager, But I think it's the by the ways of like, hey, thinking about you today. And it just being just that. It's just somebody who we were talking the other day, and Aaron said, one of the only people that calls me just to call me is Damon. Like, I always know when he's calling, like, there's nothing wrong. I mean, sometimes there is, and that's a part of the friendship, but there's that part of the relationship that we've built with each other that it really just is, I just care about you and hope you're doing good.
Yeah.
And that's a text, that's a phone call. That can happen once a week. That can happen once every 6 months. Doesn't matter.
That's right.
There's still that aspect of it. That's my fault.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I get asked this question by pastors all the time. Can you be friends with people in your church? There's a lot of different takes on that. A lot of people have been hurt by it. I will tell you that it is probably the most grounding thing in my life, that I have people here that actually know me and that are my friends first. And so, I think it's something that has helped us stay healthier. We have a lot of different relationships, but I will tell you, what she said is dead on. Like, I can't count on but like 2 or 3 fingers phone calls I get that are just saying, hey, how are you doing? And that's not that's not to throw shame on anybody. It's literally like there's only 2 or 3 people that when they call me, I'm like, they're probably not calling me to ask me something. Yeah. They're probably literally just calling just see how I'm doing. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And like, that's a very rare thing. So we just value it highly. And, I think that in our job, it's very easy to be a mile wide and an inch deep. Mm-hmm. Church has a tendency, sadly, the bigger it gets, to make you kind of go that direction where you just are known by everybody, but not really known by anybody. And I think, for me, because I'm an extrovert, and kind of like one of my giftings is I am friendly. I mean, so people can feel very connected to me from a stage or whatever. Yeah. I've had to really be disciplined in really being intentionally deep and in kind of bringing that circle in closer together. Because I used to write a lot of relational checks I couldn't cash. So I couldn't keep up with the checks I was writing. And so this relationship has been one of those that is fun, that is real. And I think it's been beautiful because we have been able to be real as couples. And I think a lot of times couples have friends, but they actually don't have a couple that's a friend, which can lend itself to truthfully just complaining about the other spouse to your friend.
That's right.
And so, like, they've hung out with us when Lauren and I were in a fight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like, everybody knew. It's okay. Everybody knew we were in a fight, I mean, they've hung out with us. We've decided not to hang out because we were in a fight. Yeah. And we were honest, like, we were fighting. We can't do this right now, And so, like, it's just, we've had that realness as a couple that is really rare. And just, I think it's very important for health of a couple. I mean, I couldn't imagine. I mean, he's talked me off the ledge a few times, and it's just marriage is hard. Mm-hmm. Yep. And it's really difficult, and it's really hard to do it without healthy outside voices that don't allow you to complain, but do push you back together.
Yeah, that's right.
So there's a lot of people that have friends that listen without confrontation. That's not a friend, right? Mm-hmm. That's just somebody who doesn't know what to do with your complaining.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Friends actually listen to you and then turn you back to go do the right thing.
Yep. Yeah. Wounds from a friend are better than kisses from an enemy.
That's exactly right. He just dropped scripture on
you. Yep. And the thing is that we have been involved in multiple huge things that have happened in our own lives, whether it be, miscarriage or, things happening at church, or, we have been involved in huge relational things that we've been there for each other for. And that makes a big difference, where you can literally just out process your feelings with somebody without fear of judgment about how you're really feeling. Because in the moment, it's okay for you to be raw.
Yeah.
You know, raw is what we're dealing with. It doesn't mean we act on raw feelings. We're just sometimes having to process what is happening inside of us to be able to heal from it and get better from it. And it's one thing to do it with the spouse, but sometimes they're so close to the situation as well that it becomes like a feedback loop.
Yeah.
But then when you have a friend in your life that you can out process all of that, get it out, and then who can just help you navigate your feelings through it, and also make you feel like you're not crazy.
Yeah.
You know, make you feel like what you're feeling is actually, I would feel the same way. And I think that in the position that they have as pastors, sometimes it's difficult for people to separate those two.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, you're a pastor, you should be, you know, walking on clouds, and Jesus is with you, and the Holy Spirit is right here, right in this minute. And yes, he is.
If
that doesn't
stop fussing at me, he would.
Well, but even in some of those recent conversations, we've just been kind of downloading some things, and y'all are like, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's been a safe place, because I mean, there's been times where we feel, how do you say this? There's been times that we're dealing with stuff and we're like, this cannot be normal, but it is our life.
Mm-hmm.
And they've helped us because they're like, that's not normal.
Yeah.
So we don't feel like I mean, there's been times where we feel like we're losing our marbles. Like, I mean, we're like, this is crazy. And they've actually been great places of compassion and like, it is crazy. Y'all are dealing with a lot right now.
Yeah.
And so it's been a safe place, which is just, I mean, I can't, you know, I'll get emotional about it because it's just incredibly important.
Yeah.
I'll say too, it's interesting. Your question was like, kind of like, what is it like to be friends, like with Aaron and Lauren, and for them with us? And I think for us, you know, knowing them before, you know, where they're at now, but it's so funny because I think of even like little things, like back in the day, Aaron used to run out of gas. And I was like, and
Literally
run out of gas. It's because I was fastly trying to accomplish the Lord's work. Oh my gosh.
You're overcommitting is what you're.
So he had this Mountaineer, and we would ride around in this Mountaineer. And I
lean to the left.
Yeah. I remember it, like, it would kind of be a little messy, like a little dirty.
She's airing it all out right now, guys.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
She's airing it all out.
Even little things, like just the growth. I remember, like, when we moved away to Colorado, and then when we would come back, like, Aaron's car has gas.
It was.
And it's, like, clean.
Yes.
And just, like, he made little changes to kind of, you know, like, just to see, like, their growth. And then, like, they both went on this huge health journey. And, like, I never envisioned, like, my bestie Lauren as, like, a pastor's wife. I mean, I knew it would eventually happen. But, like, when we first started, like, becoming friends and we were dating, I was like, wow, you know, I mean, Aaron could be the pastor one day, but I don't know about Lauren being a pastor's wife.
I was like, nah.
Yeah, I think she was like, nope, not for me. So anyway, all of that's funny, and it's like, it's fun to like think back on, but really seeing like the growth that they have both gone through, not just as like a married couple, but just individually too. That's been really cool to see because they didn't really like ask for all of this. Like, this is just something that the Lord has given them, and they've been like so faithful, and they've stewarded it so well. And like Aaron was saying, I mean, the stuff that they have to deal with is just, it's not normal. And when they share things with us, we're just like, wow, like we can't imagine, you know, also like working together. Like, so you're working together and then you're going home together. So that there's that dynamic, but it's just a lot. But I said this to them over a year ago, but they are so like unapologetically themselves. Yeah. Like, who you see here is like, it's who they are. I mean, obviously, like, they can kind of relax a little bit more when they're not on duty. But I don't know if that ever happens. I think you're probably always on duty, but they're just unapologetically themselves, and like we just love them for it because they're just them.
Yeah.
And so we love that authenticity, and they don't have to be a certain way or like, put forth some sort of like front for other people. Like they are who they are. So that's what I love about it.
Yeah. No, I think it's so cool, and just kind of, as obviously someone who's younger in the game, than all of you people here.
You're a young buck.
No, it is something. It's and I've talked to Lauren and my wife's talked to you about like what's some of the most just some tips to kind of help you through it. And you've always said find those friends that know you beyond the ministry and beyond that. And I think that's super super valuable from the standpoint of it can get wacky out here.
It can. It can get very you lose yourself in it.
Yeah.
And you can wake up one day and not even know you lost yourself.
Yeah.
You got to have those people that like, I'm just very blessed to have. I mean, I can think of several of my elders, good friends, best friends, whatever you want to call them. I mean, they've known me for a long. I mean, 3 of my elders have known me since I was like 8, 9, 10. And so there is that place where some of these people they don't remember me as I am today or whatever people think. They remember the journey. And that's really grounding and helpful to like pull you back to reality.
Yeah.
Which is really important.
Yeah.
Really important. So,
and Aaron and I have had this discussion before, it's probably about 6 months ago. I think because usually Tuesday mornings, like I would call him.
Yeah, man. On the way to the gym, he'll call me.
I call him Tuesday morning. Yeah. And we were just getting to chatting about things. And I'd heard a quote, and it was on a podcast that I was listening to. I can't remember it because I would otherwise credit it. But the person said, so many people want to be well known, but very few want to be known well.
That's good.
And so Aaron and I had a full-on discussion about how profound that statement really is, and whether it is with your spouse or friendships, just like he was talking about before, about being a mile wide and an inch deep. As you get older and as you go through seasons of life that are difficult, raising kids, I mean, you're in the throes of it, and it's very difficult to maintain friendships and relationships on somewhat of a regular basis. Right. And the expectation of that can't be, hey, we're going to hang out every weekend. That's just not realistic. And so that's why when we do hang out, our time is very precious, and we enjoy that time. But it might not happen once every couple of months just because of what's going on in our lives, or we're traveling and they're traveling and things just happen. But at the same time, just being known well. Yes, and I think when your friends know who you are and they know you at your core, including your flaws, including all the things that are not so great about yourself sometimes, and they still love you in spite of that.
Right.
And that's really a powerful thing, because your spouse, it should be the same way. I mean, your spouse isn't going to love everything about you. There are going to be things that make them mad and annoy them. And, that's what we do as husbands, ladies. I'm sorry.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love her. She's perfect.
No. Quit lying. He's over here lying in front of the pastor.
Right. I do think that that's important, because I think that there's the truth is, while we have been very close for 23 years, our relationship has looked very different in those 23 years. Mm-hmm. And I would just say, like, when you don't have any kids, awesome. Yeah. You can hang out every night.
Yep.
You can eat cookie cake every night. You can be as big as a house because you ain't got nothing else to do.
That's right.
Love
cookie cakes.
Love cookie cake. He used to, talking about my stuff, he used to come to town and had a cookie cake. So he'd be like, guys, I got a cookie cake in the back of the car. You want to
in the back of his car.
Back of the car, man. He'd bring cookie cake everywhere he went. I was like, Lower Hillsbury cookies, watching Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh my gosh.
And then, like, you have kids and you don't see each other anymore.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, literally, like, you're not. And then, we've gotten to a good season as of late where our kids are actually old enough to look after themselves, which praise.
Thank you, Jesus.
Which all of a sudden we can go on date nights again. We can hang out. We can, And so it just kind of ebbs and flows. And I just think that people have an unrealistic expectation of what things look like in different seasons.
For sure.
And you really have to tighten up your circle when you start having kids, because your time is not the same.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think that's just a really big part of like what you need to take away is like in different seasons, your friendships are going to look different and you're going to have different amounts. Like right now, I've got 15-year-old and we got a 9-year-old. We don't have a whole lot of time.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have a whole lot of time to have a whole lot of friends.
Yeah.
And I mean, because they need our best right now and they need our time. Like that, there's no doubt, like that's our number one call right now, except for our relationship with each other. And so we don't have as many friendships. We're not out every night. We're not doing those things. We're at home. We're trying to provide a good environment for those boys, and they're the same. But we do value our time with each other. And so just realizing like you got to really understand what season you're in and have correct expectation, and realize that when their season changes before yours does.
Yeah, that's right.
Because there's a lot of people like if you don't have kids, you're going to have that friend who has a kid.
Yeah.
And their lives are getting ready to change, and yours might not. And that's a very difficult transition to walk through, to figure out. And if you're very blessed, you'll get, 1 or 2 lifelong friendships. That's right. And then the rest of them will be just seasonal, and they'll change, and they'll completely go away.
Right.
There's, when our kids are playing baseball and stuff like that, we'll have friends on the baseball field.
Yeah, that's right.
Baseball season's over. I don't know. We might not see you again. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not because we don't like you.
Yeah.
Just because whatever kept us common, we ain't seeing baseball anymore, and praise the Lord. It's really important.
Yeah.